I'm Purnati. I'm a graduate student with Tamal. While Ritu focused her efforts on looking at lysosomes, I thought I will take another approach to look at collective movement of cells. So, before I go on to the actual experiments, let me quickly tell you about the views I will be using to describe the process. What you see here is how the cells will look from top, and here in this case, the cells will look from side or orthogonal view. When you view a moving layer of cell, there are some interesting things that are happening within the cells. When cells in a layer begin to migrate, they orient themselves in a certain direction. It has been well established that the cells, when they start moving, the cell's protein packaging and export depot, the Golgi bodies, reorient themselves towards the leading edge of the cell. We wondered how the Golgi bodies are switching their position. In the initial experiment, we observed that the Golgi bodies go through a unique rearrangement around the nucleus, as if the nucleus had an equator line and the Golgi was rearranging along the equator of the nucleus. Put together with the earlier findings in the field, what we had essentially found was in a sitting layer of cells, the Golgi sits on top of the nucleus, but as cells start to migrate, the Golgi reaches an equatorial organization around the nucleus. Now, the question was, how is Golgi rearranging itself around the nucleus? To investigate that, what we decided to look at was what we decided to look at is the components of the cell which are attached to Golgi. The Golgi is held together by a cytoskeleton mesh. These cytoskeleton mesh consist of microtubules, actin, which can be both globule and filamentous form, and intermediate filaments. These mesh provide a structural support to the cell. The Golgi takes the help of cytoskeleton mesh to maintain its structural integrity. So now the question is, how does Golgi attach to different cytoskeleton mesh? It turns out there are some linker molecules which can help attach Golgi to the cytoskeleton. You can imagine these linkers to be somewhat like a glue. It glues together the cytoskeleton and the Golgi. Now the question was, which is the cytoskeleton and what is the glue that is important for formation of this equatorial Golgi? I decided to investigate which is the cytoskeleton and the linkers that were involved in repositioning the Golgi around the nucleus when cells start to migrate. There are many types of linkers which attach Golgi to the cytoskeleton. Let's call them A, B, and C. Now, to understand which of these linkers and the cytoskeleton is crucial for this equatorial Golgi distribution, we resorted to a classical scientific approach. Linker A attaches Golgi to the microtubules, one of the cytoskeleton. So to understand what is A's function in this process, what we did was to remove A from the system and look at what is happening to the Golgi repositioning. Does it happen? What our experiment showed us was that the Golgi still goes through this equatorial distribution, and microtubules are not important for this repositioning of Golgi during migration. Next, we looked at a set of linkers that connect Golgi to the actin cytoskeleton. And after trying out many linkers, we found one particular linker. If you remove that and which disconnects Golgi from this actin cytoskeleton, Golgi was unable to reach the equatorial position. And we had found that glue, the crucial linker protein that is required for positioning of Golgi around the nucleus when cells start to migrate. This linker, or protein called MENA, attaches Golgi to the cytoskeleton and was crucial for this equatorial Golgi positioning. Now, let me take you to the lab bench where I'll demonstrate a critical experiment for this work, which helped us establish our discovery of the equatorial reorganization of Golgi. Now we are going to do one of the crucial experiments that helped us establish that we have found a novel Golgi organization state in migrating cells, and we are going to use fluorescence imaging to perform this experiment, and we're going to use a confocal fluorescence system to image our sample. And here you can see my sample is ready on the system and we can start imaging as soon as possible. Fluorescence microscopy helps us visualize components of cell as well as proteins of interest which we want to look inside the cell and monitor process of our interest. There is already a well-known Golgi reorganization pathway known to biologists called the mitotic Golgi fragmentation, during which Golgi gets completely fragmented into small pieces. So here, what we were asking was what happens to Golgi in equatorial distribution when cells are migrating. To see if they are continuous or they are fragmented, we use this specific protein called Dendra 2 Manus 2, which is a photoconvertible protein. In our lab, we use many markers to visualize proteins within the cells. So there are many type of markers. Here in this case, we are using a special type of marker which can be switched to a different color as per our needs. So here this molecule we are using called Dendra2 is attached to a protein which localizes to the Golgi lumen. Now, what is special about this protein is normally it is always emitting in a green channel, but when we activate it with a certain wavelength, it switches, the emission is converted into a red channel. So essentially what we can do is all the proteins that is emitting in green can now emit in a red channel, right? So what we do using this protein, what experiment we do is first we express this protein in the cell. So all the Golgi, the entire Golgi has this green protein, the green Dendra2 protein all over the Golgi, the membrane as well as the lumens. So now if you convert a particular group of protein into the red color, so now you have a localized cluster of proteins. Now they are emitting in the red channel. Since this lumen is continuous, if it is continuous, it should spread. If it is not continuous, it should just stay right here. Let's go with the first part, like assuming that the lumen is continuous, we have photoconverted a region of protein and we have the red protein now. Now, if we monitor this this photoconverted protein and monitor its diffusion, if you see that this is diffusing to all over the Golgi, spreads through the lumen of the Golgi, then that it means the Golgi is connected in the equatorial stage. But if we go through the second stage, assumption where the Golgi is not connected and it is just lying close to each other, but their lumens are not connected to each other. If we photoconvert a region of protein into a red color, what essentially will happen is that the photoconverted protein will just stay in this part of the Golgi and it will spread only in this region of Golgi, and there will be no red signal in the rest of the Golgi. Okay, so let's start the experiment. We are going to monitor the green and red emission of the Dendra2 Manus 2 protein. Here in this panel, you will see the signal for the green emission, and in this panel, you will see the emission for the red channel. So now I'll start the experiment. The protocol is getting ready. Okay, now I have started the experiment. The protein is getting photoconverted and will start imaging very soon. Okay, this is the first signal. You see green signal here, and you can already see the photoconverted signal here. And now we will monitor it for 10-15 minutes and try to see if this signal is diffusing all across the Golgi as in the green channel. Okay, so now the experiment is complete. This is the frame we started with, and you can see the Dendra2 Manus 2 red emission. You can only see in this area, in this small area. As we move through different frames, you can see the signal starts appearing in other areas of Golgi as well, which was not present when we started the experiment. So what this shows is that Golgi is not fragmented, it's actually very well connected across the cell. And this kind of conclusively shows that we have found a novel Golgi reorganization pathway. And now the question becomes even more interesting, giving us a space to answer how this entire process is occurring.
This process of connective cellular motion involves a huge number of components working together. Through our research efforts, we have tried to cover some bits of it and tried to understand it in a slightly better way. With these videos, we have tried to show you how we approach these scientific problems. We hope you enjoyed them, and do let us know if you have any questions.